Hello world, and welcome back to the Global Frequency. I am Nefarious, and with me as always is the one and only Frequency Girl. And tonight,
hello.
We are joined by Kevin Murphy and Derek Clay, here to tell us all about their comic book crowdfunding campaign, Ballad of the Celestials, available now on Indiegogo.
Nice.
What is up, guys? How are you doing tonight?
Hey, it's Friday, which is always good.
Yeah.
Get the weekend coming up.
Yeah, ready to party, man.
Do you remember that old like programming block TGIF with like Full House and all those other shows?
Yeah,
Are
man.
you as old as I am? All right, cool.
Heck yes.
Cool. Glad to know that. I don't feel that old. Before we get into the book, why don't we try and get to know you guys a little bit better? So first off,
before we do that, why don't we say hello to our chat?
If we must.
We must. We have D-Wag. Hey, D-Wag. He says he is first.
Bow!
We have Connery, who's starting
What's up,
trouble
Dragon
with
Multimedia?
D-Wag. We have Collision Bomb. Hey, Collision Bomb.
Amanda
B!
Woo-hoo.
We love Amanda B here. She's the
We
best.
do.
Yep.
We have Peter Palmiotti. That is a very nice cover. I wonder who worked on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Yes.
Neff wants to know this too, Peter. He wants to know why we're not past 1,000 subs. We'll get there one day. Sorry, I'm scrolling. We have the illustrious Mo Biggs. It is officially a show.
The one and only entity.
That's right.
B-Rose. Hey, B-Rose.
Hi, B-Rose.
Whoa, I just jumped to the bottom of the chat and now I'm lost. We have Roy Draws. Hello. Hey, Roy.
Hey, Roy.
Hanging out.
And El Padrino.
Juanito
here to support us.
That's
as
nice.
well as Eric the Guapo.
He is correct. He's actually first.
Slap nuts.
Mo Big says I can tell you why they aren't past 1K subs. Too much weebery.
Ooh.
Otherwise, a great channel. Thank you, Mo
He's
Big.
not wrong. This is what happens when you talk to B-Rose all the time. You know, there's a bad influence.
It's true. It's true.
So, guys, I'm going to ask. First, we're going to start with Dirk because he's on my left. And then Murph. How did you guys fall in love with comics, and do you remember the first book that inspired you to try making one of your own?
Damn, that's a hell of a question. Yes. I mean, I used to go over to my grandmother's house, and I found all of my uncle's comics that they had left once they moved out of her house, and was just going through it. You know, after all the grandkids, they, you know, whenever they were over there, they would just tear the shit out of those comics. But I remember reading, you know, Hulk versus Wolverine, like the first issue of that, whenever it first came out. I remember just so many different comics that influenced me. Spider-Man, so many Spider-Man. It was ridiculous. And it was just a great time. So I loved going over there and reading. And then, damn, I would say even like Masters of the Universe was a big influence on me. Just a lot of the 80s cartoons. And I mean, damn, that was just a great time. The 80s was a great time.
It
just
really
a great time
was.
to be alive.
There was a lot of great entertainment in the 80s. We were just
really
talking
was.
about this yesterday, Freq Girl and I. We were saying that a lot of the stuff in the 80s actually like seized upon Shakespearean themes in a lot of ways. Like kids entertainment and stuff. They really like pulled in some of those Shakespearean tropes. And we were marveling at like all the different movies that kind of mapped out that way and why we don't have that anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's been left behind or something, or they forgot it, or they're just trying to rehash what's already been done. They're not really going back to the good stuff. But it seemed like every property that was out back then, though, man, it had some kind of influence on me. I don't know what it was, but it was pretty cool.
Really?
Travis
You remember?
Giving. Wow, those are some handsome beards.
Hey, yeah.
Definitely some beards. Do you even Gummy Bears? Do you remember the show Gummy Bears? Did that have?
Oh my God!
I
had
do.
the juice.
Sing the
They had
theme
the
song.
special juice.
You have the. Oh, I thought you said you had the juice. I'm like, oh my goodness! How did you get that? Where did they sell it? I need it.
It wasn't the Gummy Bears necessarily, but it was their theme song, bouncing here and there and everywhere.
I just say, I'm like, I'm gonna start singing.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
I know the whole thing.
That was catchy as hell, and if you didn't like the cartoon, you might like their theme song. So
look what I've done. Reduced us to goobering about 80s cartoons and singing theme songs. You guys are great. I love you.
And then says, by the power of Grayskull.
That's right.
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt because it's what I do.
Okay. So I think like everybody, I was first into cartoons and toys. And I believe I was at like a Rite Aid or a pharmacy, and I was probably in first grade at this time. I saw that there were Ninja Turtle adventure comics. And I was like, oh man, I love the Turtles. So I started getting into them. I had like 70 of them. Like you find them everywhere. That was the greatest thing. I'd always want to go with my mom to the store because hopefully they'd have a new comic. And probably then when I was like 9 or 10, my uncle realized I liked comics and he introduced me to X-Men. He introduced me to Excalibur. He gave me one of their first like graphic novels even back then, if you know what I'm talking about. And he gave me the Killing Joke, and I shouldn't have read that at that age, but I was a kid who my parents wouldn't let me go to our movies, so I'd always do stuff at my uncle's or aunt's or friend's house. So, and then, once so much of them, X Factor, X Force, had so many big events. Oh man. And then I've kind of got in and out of comics as life's gone on. There's times where I was out, got back in when like the Ultimate Marvel with Ultimate X-Men and Spider-Man, then Walking Dead got me back in. And so things like that.
Yeah, that's great. The early comic book influences that, hit all of us, those X books. Did you follow all of the crossover? Because I know, like, as the late 80s, early 90s drew on, and then we got more of the X books coming out, like, especially when New Mutants rolled over into X-Force, and, we had X Factor and all of that, and they did all these crazy crossovers. Were you collecting all of those books, or was that around the time that you were like, okay, I've kind of had enough of these nutty crossovers?
No, I actually had a good store where a guy would help me with it. He knew that that's what I wanted because I was still young and my parents were just fine that I was reading. So they were all about it. And he would just give me them like in order when they came out. And so I kind of got out of it when Age of Apocalypse came. I didn't like that it changed everything. And it really kind of, that's kind of was my part of then getting more into sports and kind of away from comics, even though the Age of Apocalypse is really good.
What is this sports you speak of?
Yeah. It was the times Michael Jordan was huge.
Jordan was huge, man. I was just watching some of his replays. I don't know why they throw this in my YouTube feed, but I was watching some of his greatest dunk highlights at like 3 a.m. when I can't sleep. This dude gets so much air. It's insane. Like, I knew he was good. I remember back in the day being like amazed, but then you see stuff like Kobe and you're like, oh yeah, athleticism. But you go back and you watch Jordan, it's like effortlessly. The hang.
It's like he floats.
Crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't look natural. It's really weird.
And Charles Barkley's like, come on, man. He can't keep up. All right, that's great that you guys both, got into the comic books pretty early like that. When did you get your start creating comics? And Kevin, when did you start writing? Derek, when did you start drawing? And how'd you get your start in general? We'll start with you this time, Murph.
Okay. So this is the first time I'm writing a comic. This comic is actually based off of when Lord of the Rings came out in the movie theaters. I loved it so much. I read The Hobbit in high school, but never Lord of the Rings. The movies just gave me so much creativity. I actually went looking for like Lord of the Rings comics. I thought there would be a huge thing, couldn't find anything. So I kind of just started writing novels myself. And I had the last 20 years about, 10 to 12 novels written out. met Derek, and it just kind of happened this way that now I'm going to turn all that stuff into comics. So this is really the first time, in the last 4 years that I've tried to write a comic book, which is completely different than writing novels. A lot of learning.
Did you publish any of these novels, or are
No.
they still sitting there as manuscripts waiting to be, shown into the light of the day?
They're still sitting there. I probably would have never have done it. Derek's really the one that got this out of me because he liked the story so much, and then was able to build on things that I had and change things. And it's actually changed a lot than what it was.
Yep.
And
I love Popples too.
What's Popples?
They're the little
Popples.
stuffed
Popples are
animals
the best.
Like little,
I still have mine.
round things, right?
Yeah, and like they could fold up into themselves into like a little ball. Mine was pink
So
and
not like
purple. I'm sure
Furbies.
everyone is surprised. No.
not like
They were
Furbies. Those are
actually
creepy.
cute, not
Yeah.
like demonic little fur things. No.
They are creepy.
Popples are awesome. Here, let me. I will bring up a picture of Popples.
This is
Yeah,
awesome.
do it.
Hold on, it'll take me.
Was it ever big like
Walls-
the TY Beanie Babies? Or no?
Yeah, in the 80s where they had a TV show.
Oh, yeah.
They
What?
had
Yep.
there was a cartoon.
Popples.
There was a Popples cartoon.
Kevin can't remember anything before 1990, so
I was born in
Oh, big.
'83, so that was like, like I was learning how to walk.
Hold on. I'm slow.
I'm really
Yeah,
interested.
Travis
Travis.
Gibb in the house, along with a couple other people that filtered in before. We didn't get a chance to say hello to. We had Neostar. We also had Not My Monkeys and Rich Ayala. I saw. I don't know if we said hello to him earlier, but
No, he came in like
did-
right after we stopped saying hello.
I'm clicking buttons here.
Apparently.
And we had Will,
that.
Creators Outlet, come on and hop in the chat. So these are Popples, apparently. Do you want to give us the lowdown on it, Freak Girl?
I mean, they're Popples.
And there was
They
a
were-
cartoon.
it's
Yeah,
kind of
there
at
was
the
a
end of the Care
cartoon.
Bear era. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
it was in the
You see the
80s.
similarity.
Wow.
They had a cartoon. They had like storybooks and all the whole nine of like everything.
Oh.
Where'd it go?
This is one of those things that whoever owns it, you should put some money into it because it'll eventually blow up because they're just using everything.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, I think
my,
it was a toy first, and then they made a
show.
cartoon out of it, like pretty much everything
Yeah,
in
wasn't
the
it? Yeah.
80s. Yeah, and they would like fold themselves into a ball, and they could put things in their little pouches. And
Yes, we got Max Sid with us, creator
Right.
of Neon Seed Babylon. And
Oh,
if you
wow.
guys didn't get a chance to check that out, I think it's going to be coming around in digital form
Oh, that's really
again
cool.
real soon. And if you want the skinny and the lowdown, hit me up in the DMs and I'll let you know because I really enjoyed what I saw of that.
Nice.
Travis is in
Awesome.
the chat on Facebook, like he's our only Facebook viewer ever, and he was saying that we should buy his Beanie Baby collection. And I'm saying
Oh
that
boy.
I don't know if we can afford it. If it's
I
one
think
of those.
instead of his Beanie Baby collection, you should buy his comic book Granite State Punk before it closes out, because that's a good
That's
one.
true. I don't know how far along is he with
He
that.
hit 300
Last time I checked, he was like
backers, I think, today.
8,000
Awesome.
something,
I
floating
think
just
he just
below
hit
9K.
because he did a whole thing about This Is Sparta. So I'm assuming that means he hit 300. I'm pretty sure. Travis,
Nice.
correct me
Mo-
if I'm wrong.
Mo says Popples versus Wuzzles.
Oh,
Did
Oh,
we-
I know the
Deep,
Wuzzles.
oh
dark
no!
hole.
I love Wuzzles.
I know Wuzzles. That's funny, but I didn't
Deep
know those.
dark hole.
Oh, I think I have to go with Wuzzles. As much as I loved Popples, I think I have to go with Wuzzles.
Now Amanda's pulling out the pound puppies. We're done, guys.
Pound Puppies
Yeah,
are also
Steve,
good.
it's
Yeah,
over.
I've just been ignoring
Descended
everything
into-
and just talking about 80s toys and
80s collectibles.
stuffed animals.
I ruined the show.
No, it's great. I love it.
Oh, good. Max said he bought Granite State Punk. It looks awesome. I think so too. I think it looks awesome. I'm less impressed with the art than I am with the writing, though. I think I'm really going to dig the writing. He's really channeling Polaniuk and some of those more serious literary influences, and I think it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to get blown away by this book. Connery says, original Pound Puppies or reboot. Come on, man.
Original.
Originals in here.
I didn't even know there was a reboot. Yes, Amanda is right. Back Ballad of the Celestials.
Yeah.
So, Dirk, you never got to tell us how you got your start. Do you want to tell us about when you started drawing?
Yeah, I mean, I've been drawing my whole life. I was drawing since I can remember, but started getting into superheroes pretty young, actually. Drawing Captain America. I used to try to recreate covers just by, I don't know, just drawing them and see what I can do. And I did that a couple times for like Captain America and I think G.I. Joe. And so once I did that, I just kept drawing. Always drew like my favorite heroes and stuff, but never got real serious. Started going to art school for a little while at the Columbus College of Art and Design, and then dropped out and realized I didn't really need them. Started doing my own training and stuff, and then just, had kids. And once you have kids, that's where life goes. You know what I mean? And so then once I met Kevin, he kind of got me back into being excited for comic books again, just talking about the characters and things. And then he had that story, and I was like, look, I think we got to do this. So it's been about 4 years, Kevin, that we've been working on this comic and finally bringing it out. So yeah, it's a labor of love for about 4 years.
I know exactly what that feels like. Banging away on something, trying to get the very best version of it that you can, so that you can bring it out and show it to people and be super proud of what you've accomplished, especially when it's something that you love and want to put all of your effort into. So kudos, guys. I'm really, really happy to see you guys accomplishing that. And I can't wait to back this thing.
Thank you.
So you both said, Murph, this is your first published work, right? Derek, did you do anything else in the comic sphere, put out any art? I've seen your art station and your sequentials look really good, I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have you done? I mean,
I need to put more on there.
You do have, some, I guess, formal training in sequential art, being that you went to art school, right? SEMO Biggs.
Well,
yeah, but
I wouldn't
you didn't
call it
ask
that.
him. You said it.
I totally. Well, no, that's what it is now.
Oh.
I don't think I had training because I had to go the roundabout way, because all the full-time people got to learn from Daryl Banks, who used to draw Green Lantern. And that's what I signed up to do. But they all got like first dibs on that class because I was going part-time. So I had to go in and do like perspective drawing. I had to do live nudes, things like that. And so you learn like fundamentals, but you're not necessarily learning storytelling. And so I had to do that myself. So that's just me being self-taught. It's nothing to do with school. So I wish I could give them credit.
Well, no, you don't.
I mean, I paid money for it. I wish I could say, yeah, I got all that, but I didn't. It's self-taught.
Well, we get a good mix. Most of the people that we got on the channel are, since we only really do indie, occasionally we get like a pro who sneaks in because they're doing like crowdfunding and stuff. So I'm more than happy to have them on the show. But usually it's people who are self-taught, who have figured out their own stride, cultivated their own style, studied really hard the medium. Some people who don't, but generally it's people who have found their way to comics on their own and done what was necessary to kind of take on the craft and learn it. And it's great that I really like that both of you are here putting out a professional looking product, going about the route of crowdfunding it and bringing in, fans interested in your book, and you're doing it all, on your own.
Thank you.
So have you two worked together before, or is this your first collaboration?
I mean, we were co-workers, so we worked at the same job. So there was times at that where we kind of had to. We both worked in corrections, so we were working with people, helping them kind of rebuild their lives, helping them with resources, jobs, finances, all those type of things. So we worked, in important ways, but when it came to creativity, this is kind of our first thing, but it's gelled really well. I could tell him something and it's like Derek knows exactly what I'm talking about. Sometimes he'll just draw something out of nowhere and I'm like, I could use that for the story, and it just works really, really well.
it's great when you make a relationship with an artist as a writer that way, because I was just working with Garrett, and we're doing character sheets for another thing. I don't know if I should even be talking about this, but there's going to be a supplemental book coming out with the next part of Mavericks Volume 2. And so there's another team that we're introducing. So we were doing all of the character sheets. I typed up everything. I sent it to him. He sends me back the sheets, and I'm like, yep, that's them. So I know what it's like when you get to working with an artist, and they can just kind of get what's in your brain before you even really visualize it. You know what you want them to be like, and they just make them look that way. And you know, there's really hardly ever anything to correct. So it sounds like the two of you vibe really well, which means that the book is going to be really good, because it's a shared vision. You know, when it's written and then interpreted and created, that kind of relationship is fantastic. Sometimes we get a lot of people on the show sometimes we get people, I don't want to say we get a lot of people, but sometimes we get people on the show who are like, oh, I just write a script and I hand it off to my artist, and, you know, they'll eventually give me back what they want to put out. And I'm like, I don't know if that's really the way to go about it, but, you know, I can see sometimes it works.
That's how we started, but then it was interesting so I'd kind of give Derek the script. He would look over it, think of some things, and then we'd get together and storyboard it. And actually, that was the most fun, really. Yeah. Storyboarding's awesome. So,
that's the way,
and there really, the thing with a comic book, like, you seeing it and writing it, two totally different things. You could think, oh, this is going to work so well, and then you see it on paper, it's like, no, this doesn't work. We got to think of something completely different, but that I still think that's fun, because it makes you be more creative when things don't work.
Yeah, we bounce the ideas off each other and we hash it out. Like when we argue over something, we might get pretty intense about it, but we usually are able to come to a settled, you know, idea, and then we go with it. Because usually it's like we're both pumped at the end of that, because even though we may not like the first ideas, we end up really loving what we end up settling with. So I think it's the best, because you are getting the final version of it.
Hey, what's up, Elliot Rodriguez? Nice. Hail Dirk and Murph. Hail Neff and Freq Girl. Hail the chat.
We also had Scott
Greg
from the
Scott the Flock. Yep, we got Scott the Flock.
I'm trying to find it.
And we got Greg Levitt, who's being very well behaved for some reason. It's not like
he was saying he did not have a big wheels. We were talking about our big wheels in the chat. Neff apparently had a fancy one that had like LED lights and things like that. Like mine
had made the
stickers. I didn't even know big wheels had LEDs. I'm like, mine had stickers.
Do you guys ever have a Power Wheels? Come on, you never heard of Power
No,
Wheels?
I did not. I did not.
You step on the gas and you drive around, but it's electric. It was like
I had a kid. Yeah, sorry. I had the Kid Knight Rider's car where you'd pedal it, and then I had someone
the black one, like you.
I remember when those were out.
Michael Knight didn't have bendable knees; he just like stood and then sat because you only need to put him in the car. Yeah.
No, you had one you could pedal. That's
cool. I had one I could ride. Yeah, but then
that's awesome.
It got stolen because my parents were like, always put it in the garage, and I didn't, and then someone stole it out of the yard. So I learned a lesson from that.
Someone stole my big girl bike.
Yeah,
I don't think I see Connery swear very much. So for him to say it's the shit, you know that he loved his Power Wheels.
I was jealous of everyone that had one. I did not have Power Wheels.
I did have a Power Wheels. I had a 4x4 Jeep Power
Of course
wheel.
You did.
We were always jumping our big wheels, man. Trying to do what we could to just slam the shit out of those big wheels. Every time
that's the one, the Ford Monster truck, man. That thing was dope. Oh, wow. Enertech water guns. Yes.
Yeah, that was awesome. The Super Soakers.
Water guns.
Yeah.
They come out later. The Enertech ones were like fully automatic, though. They were great. Yeah.
I did not have those. I had like regular little like pull the trigger and like spurt a little bit.
My favorite one was a 1911.
You get at the dollar store.
Cock it and you get one big shot at it. It was awesome. They were totally giving that to kids. I mean, they were spray painted like orange and green, like with green stripes and stuff. So you'd never mistake it for an actual weapon, but they were totally having us go around racking the slide and shooting each other. It was a different time, right?
Hey, 24 He also had a Knight Rider bike.
Yeah, man. Knight Rider was the shit back then too.
It was
a Spider-Man bike, and it broke within the first week.
No.
Oh man!
See, even back then, Marvel wasn't up to snuff, right? No, cheap shot.
Apparently, Mobic says that they banned the Intertech water guns.
They did, yeah.
Oh wow!
They were the color of real guns.
Some kids had to point them at cops and ruin everything. Yeah. Foolish. So how long have you guys been working on this? You said 4 years now.
Yeah.
Where did the idea come from in your novels? Was this one of the first one you wrote, one of the last ones? Where did you bring it from, in the back of your mind? What's the inspiration?
Oh, that's a good question. It definitely is the first. I mean, back a while again, I kind of had the novel starting off how Lord of the Rings was, like a big dump of all this information and everything. So that's not how this is. What we kind of decided is so each story is going to have 3 acts like in a movie, so 3 comics per act. So this book is the first act of kind of a small movie, then 4, 5, and 6, and then 7, 8, and 9. And then 10 will be like an annual wrapping those 3 different type of tales together. And then there'll always be 10 altogether. So 11 through 20 will be an overarching story, 21 through 30. And because this takes place before the flood, there's Pangea. It's all just one continent. So we're able to keep all these kingdoms and tribes and things like that closer. So you don't have to be walking all over the place the whole time. Like some people make fun of Lord of the Rings that all they're doing is walking. So I guess deciding why I decided to put it where it is because it's a good part in the lore. Think of it as the character's grandparents had like a great war because of something, like kind of like World War II. And then their parents kind of had peacetime with nothing, and now there's like something coming back. And so you still get a whole story of things that happened in the past and why these characters are important and kind of what they need to do to fight off this new evil.
Very cool.
That's great. And Dirk, how much have you contributed to fleshing out this world? Did you do character sheets? Have you collaborated with beyond just like populating it with the imagery? Have you collaborated on the plot and the story with each of the 3 books in the in the 3 acts?
Yeah, I tried not to mess with a ton of stuff because Kevin had a lot of the story already pretty well developed. But some of the ideas I came up with about the characters kind of helped Kevin shape the story a little more. So, like the crest you see on the logo.
I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, that bird crest you see, that's something I just came up with. And when I came up with it, I was like, you know what? This is a great like family. It's almost like a house name would be or something, like Hell has the S. It's a lot like that. It's a family crest. And then that adds to more of that deep, lore. The deep lore, but it's also like a heritage. When people see that symbol, it's a symbol of hope. It's a symbol of history in the world. So when he talks about the previous characters, like the grandfathers and things like that of these characters, that was a symbol that they brought to the forefront of the story. So that added quite a bit of, I guess, what would you call that? That put like a placeholder. Yeah, I mean, it put a placeholder in the world for them to kind of hinge upon, which was great. So yeah, little things like that.
Derek's really good at character design. Like I'll have an idea or something main about the character, but Derek really puts like their wardrobe together. Especially stuff like this. Like I'll think a lot of stuff with the armor and then let Derek play with it too. But like this part, Derek, I know I did a lot with Zune, but like Burn right there, that's all Derek. All of that. I didn't have anything for that. So it's
I dig the hammer axe pike thing. And this outfit is great. I sense some inspiration from familiar sources, but I definitely dig the way that the outfit just is composed. I think that's fantastic. He's definitely a barbarian with like a, I don't know what that is. Is that a jawbone?
Yes, it's a jawbone. He's kind of shaped it into a club and kind of whittled down the end of the jawbone to make a handle out of it. Left the teeth in there that he could just bludgeon people.
Obviously,
yeah. Of course.
It's got to be brutal. And he's more of, it's weird because I took some modern influences. I would say modern from the time that we're making the story because it's pre-flood, but Germanic people would be more modern than pre-flood. So I used some, I guess, influence from that era because they were considered more barbaric. And so took some of their armor designs and then added the furs. And then, of course, his little shoulder piece of that skull with the big horns on it. I wanted him to look a little more, I don't know, wild man compared to the rest of them. Because he's more in there with his favorite thing is animals. He likes to be around the beasts.
He's like a beast master.
Yeah. So I wanted that to come across in his outfit.
I mean, it definitely does. He's definitely more primal, more feral. Yeah. You know what this reminds me of in a way? It's not exactly this, but it reminds me of the feel of the old Dragonlance books.
Oh,
do you remember the Dragonlance books?
I know the name. I didn't read them, but I know the name.
I was a D&D nerd.
Okay.
Dragonlance was like a D&D spin-off. It was one of the worlds that was part of the TSR property. But there were these very well-defined characters, and they all kind of embodied a different archetype, like, the fighter, the wizard, or whatever. And this dude is 100% barbarian. You look at him and you're like, yep, that's the barbarian. There's the monk. There's the ranger / archer elf person. And that's the fighter right in the middle. I'm not quite sure who the guy is all the way on the right. Maybe he's a scout. But,
I mean, he kind of is.
Yeah. You got to break the mold every now and again. He's not the rogue. We don't have a rogue yet.
Right.
The party's going to be fleshed out still.
Yeah. He's more of
there will be one in the second one, but
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying there was a lot of characters that are, we're trying to represent. So yeah, they all have their own personality, which is really cool.
So you put together a lot of the art for, I guess, like the design of the characters, and you guys fleshed out the world together. But when I work on fantasy, right, there's so much to do with a setting. And there's always I get stuck on these little nitpicky details, what does the continental trade look like? Do they have, horse-drawn carriages to carry supplies? Is there sailing? How much of that type of world building where you get into the nerdy minutia stuff have you had to do? Or do you have a general idea and you've left it yet to be explored? Piracy.
There's a ton to
something
be explored.
you might go into. Have you gotten into it with all your fingers? Because you said it was almost like a Tolkien lore dump, and he wrote a language.
Yeah.
I mean, every culture or kingdom are going to have a resource.
Yeah.
There's a big thing is trade, and you'll see that more in the second book. There's a little bit of talk about it in this one, but for reasons you'll see it more in the second than you will see it here. But there are reasons that there are kingdoms that do get along and use each other. So because it's not just the characters that are going to matter; it's the that are going to be big as well.
No. Yeah, but with the settings, you'll see horse-drawn carriages. You'll see, there's going to be some things that we haven't got into. You see one setting at the end of the book, but even that. We don't get into very deeply because you're outside of that setting and you're just kind of getting the edge of it. So there's a lot to define. There's a whole culture in there that we have to define. And this is kind of I feel like we're just scratching the surface of the beginning. So it's really
cool. Have you gotten into it with all your fingers? Personal with the questions. Hey, Mo, I have not asked them the question of if you work side by side, who touches whose thigh? All right, so we're not there yet. I haven't asked them that.
Man, Kevin tries. Let's just say 7 times.
It's the writer, always the writer touching the artist. I'm telling you, it's just, it's a thing, right? Black Rose says it's essentially the plot of Dawson.
Oh my God. This is going to carry me from the last stream, CW.
Yes, man. Terrible. That was funny, though. I really like that comparison.
So why don't you guys tell us then, since we've been talking about the character design and some of the world building, what is going on with Ballad of the Celestials? Who are the protagonists? Who are the antagonists? Start up with the pitch and let me know what's going on.
Okay. So there are a couple of antagonists for different reasons. In this first act, you kind of had two different groups. You barely see the one group, and they're kind of on the heels of our heroes. And our heroes are going to a kingdom because of some revelation. And why they go there, and this is Mare's home, they kind of intercept another army. And this is kind of a group of like wild people who don't believe humans should be in buildings or boxes. They believe we should be in nature just like animals. So they're almost like a sort of terrorist. So as the book starts, you're not going to have that overarching evil characters yet. That will be built. There'll be more stuff within the kingdom that they're first at.
It's a slow reveal.
And it will keep, it's a slow reveal because the Celestials in themselves have a big part, and they're barely in this as well too, because there's a lot to build up. But the Celestials, what they are, what they can do, what they can't do, how things change for them throughout the story, then changes for everyone else. So I'd say if you like mythology, we say fantasy, but I say more mythology where beasts and you kind of have like supernatural things as well. I wouldn't really say we have magic. I guess a bit, but there's always a price. It's never just like Harry Potter where you say something and happens. Like you have to do something to earn it. So I'd say it's more mythology in Lord of the Rings. And Tolkien really made Lord of the Rings as a mythology for Europe. So I'm taking this as taking all the mythologies because they're together before the flood. We're going to have Atlantis in there. We're going to explain what the pyramids were about, the Great Wall of China, why all those things were going on. So there is a big world. The Celestians themselves kind of have things, and they're kind of in the background of this first book. And I think people will dig what they can do and their influences and stuff. And there's going to be tons of them as characters as well.
So is there a central conflict to the story? You said it's 3 acts, which implies, that we have an inciting incident and an adventure that they get into, which has an inevitable conclusion. Yes. What is the central conflict here that you're examining? Like, what's the motivation behind the adventure?
Okay, so the motivation is there. Oh boy, how do I do stuff without ruining things?
Give them a little bit. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh boy. So like anything else, there's evil. There are people that just do things because they want land or they want possessions or they want to get rid of things. And so it really is a good versus evil. But it's not black and white. There are people that just want to be bystanders. The overall arching is that people want what other people have, and they have to destroy those people to get it.
I mean, that's the classic story of haves versus have-nots. I mean, that goes all the way back. Freq Girl and I were just talking today about why having post-scarcity societies doesn't really solve the fundamental problem with the human condition. No matter how much you have, someone always has something better or different or something that you want. Covetousness, envy, jealousy, these fundamental human flaws exist no matter how much people have or how well off. But quality of life is always a motivating factor for conflict. So I think that's a very smart thing for you to do, especially in a fantasy setting where we're not really familiar with anything. Populating it with a motivation that fundamental and that human driven is probably a great way to make it something familiar in a very different setting. I like that.
Yes.
And when it comes to evil, they're not just one group like Sauron. Like a lot of them are different. Like again, some of them are just kingdoms where kingdoms don't get along for specific reasons. Then there's these actual like evil forces that have plans for things. And again, with not talking about what the Celestials are, they have a huge influence of what's going on, what they want, what they can't have, what people would want from them. So it is a thing where you do have a push and pull where I want what this person has and they have it, but they're like, oh, I'd much rather have what you have. And they kind of overlook the things that they're just given in life, and they don't cherish like the people who don't have it. And again, you got your bipartisan people, you got your people that kind of just do their own thing and only care about themselves.
So from what we're talking about here, the stuff that we're talking, Dirt, how have you characterized these different factions to make them look distinct and different from each other? And how are you connecting us to sort of the good guys aesthetically as opposed to the bad guys?
Well, aesthetically, that's the most difficult thing, right? I would say you can tell who is evil and who is not. Visually, there's a little more brutality. There's a little more, roughness to them. And, some of it's their weapons. Some of it's their armor and the way they look or their outfit. One of the villains we have, and you see him on the wraparound cover, you see him slinging the lantern torches around in the back. Lanterns. Yeah. He's this real slimy, sweaty dude, and he's just kind of like when you see a close-up of his face, that's what it is. It's slimy, he's sweaty and gross. He's got this stuff that he uses for those lanterns to keep it lit. He's got that stuff all over him. He's just this dirty dude. And so physically, I want him to look slimy and gross. He's very, he's a force to be reckoned with for sure. But to look at him, he's repelling, he's not somebody that you like. And so you'll see little things on him like that. I mean, he's also, he also has some skill with these weapons. He's crafty. So there's things that he pulls off, but visually I wanted you to see something in him that you're not going to see in the other people. And then the other people that he fights with, that he brings along, they're a little more, I guess, ragtag. They look a little more on the pirate level, where they're just kind of like throwing all kinds of different clothing together. They're just, you can tell they're almost nomadic people. They don't live, they don't live in villages like everybody else, because they're always moving along. So it's a different thing. If you see somebody living in a village, you're going to have like a set clothing or a set style. So it's going to be different.
And kind of what we were talking about motivation, like Derek was saying, they're nomadic. They don't believe we should be living in castles and things like that. But then he's just with them. He just likes to stir shit. He doesn't have really a goal or a belief or anything like that. You know what I mean? He's happy just destroying things.
Yeah. I know a couple people like that.
Yeah. I've met those people in my life too.
Why don't we, I know Freq Girl just put it away, but why don't we put it back on the screen and take a look at the campaign?
Nice.
So the book is 30 pages. It's going to be full color, and all of the line work and the inks are done.
Yep.
Am I correct on that?
Yes.
And so it's just going to color, and then it's going to be ready to print.
Yes.
Lettering too. Yes.
The lettering too, yeah. And you got Eric doing that. So, I mean, that means it's going to be lettered in like 3 days. Actually, it's 30 pages. He'll be done in an afternoon. That dude is terrifying. He letters the way Shelby draws, okay? It's unnatural.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So we're also looking at a $2,000 goal, and you're 2/3 of the way there. 3/4,
pretty much.
Yeah, like 77%.
79%.
Oh,
hey,
nice.
man, 79. Nice. Oh wait, no, that's wrong, isn't it? It's 69.
Like, no, it just said 79. It's right there. Sorry.
So why, since it's flexible, the $2,000 goal? Is that to more establish the ground floor for your stretch goals, or is that something you actually need to make the book?
No, we don't need it. Honestly, it's just to help us hopefully being able to add more people to our team so we can generate the content quicker. Because we have the content, it's just producing it. Because with Derek being the only artist, it takes a long time. I mean, he has a full-time job. We both have full-time jobs. So that's pretty much our money's just going to constantly go back into the IP so we can get more people on it so we can kind of turn these out.
Nice.
Do you want to show us any of the campaign tiers? Actually, before I ask that, who put together the campaign page?
Me.
Nice. So
Thank you.
all the graphics in-house, did all the copywriting in-house, figured the tiers out and all of that. I mean, did you follow any particular suggested model, or did you just kind of wing it?
Well, we wung it. We winged it. How do you say that?
Wung is
we
fine.
Winged it.
We wung it.
Well, yeah, we winged it at first, but then we put it out to 3 different people, and we asked them, people that we trusted. Amanda B.
Did one of them have a mohawk?
No, but almost.
Okay.
But I did follow his little booklet that he sent out. His document. And
we don't say his name on this channel. He is a traitor to Team Dwarf.
Oh man.
So he actually had a lot of great suggestions, but then we put it out to those people and we said, hey, take a look, give us feedback. They gave us some great feedback. And then we just kind of shaped it up to that. I think we're still missing a few things. I think we need to add a couple taglines in there and just kind of make it a little more snazzy. But, I was really happy with the graphics. I was really happy with even the order of things on the page.
Yeah, it's a good, clean, easy to read. You have the information you need right up front.
Yeah, and I actually did some research of everyone's page, looking at like what was successful for people and not. Made it out in Excel. It seemed like covers were a big thing. And even before Derek sent that out to the 3 people to look over, we actually had on our YouTube a bunch of creators, and we were just asking questions and kind of we showed them our thoughts and perks we were going to make. And it sounded like what everyone was telling us, this is our first time, keep it small, keep it simple. And so we kind of just relied on, have some different covers.
One thing that we did, Leroy, whenever he had his channel out, he was saying in there several times over, they were saying, what new creators need to do is, talk with other people, get people to give you feedback. And I never saw creators doing it. And I thought, well, we're going to do it. We're going to do exactly what they say. We're going to try to follow.
That's the right way to do it, man.
And so
100% the way to go when you're building your campaign page is talking to people whose campaign pages you liked the look of, figuring out those tiers. It definitely is a research project, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. So we did it, and we had them come. We had the chat come on our show, and we asked them some things. They didn't talk about our campaign as much. They talked about our channel, which got us on board with the channel, which was great. But then they gave us a little bit on the campaign. Then we revisited it and had some other people come in, give some different feedback. And then when we actually put it out, then we let them review it before we launched. So yeah, it helped shape us a lot. It was really nice.
And again, the person we can't mention has a lot of YouTube videos of what to do and what not to do, and was a great resource as well.
Yeah, that too.
I imagine that they do. I'm not subscribed, so it's funny because we put our page together, we put our campaign together and everything, and then people were like, "Hey, have you checked out the document, the masterwork?" And I was like, "There's a masterwork." Like nobody told me.
Yeah,
but it was
Murph's
great.
getting mad at you. You
Stop associating Rob's monstrosity with me.
You keep putting the wrong first syllable on hawk. It's supposed to be called a Rob Hawk.
Rob Hawk.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
You did it yesterday too.
But now you've brought it up,
you.
so you're going to have to do your penance after the stream.
Me?
Because you said the name that shall not be named.
I was thinking that as she was doing it. In my head, I'm like, oh shit.
Right? Don't. Oh no. It's out now. It's like you said, Voldemort. It's all over the stream. We can't not say it. But really good looking out on him making that document.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Who really want to have a crowdfunding resource. It's including people in the network and saying, hey, this is kind of the format that we have found works best. Crowdfunding, check out the doc, And I was surprised when we read it. I was like, hey, we did the majority of this already. One thing that we didn't do was have a less than 60-second trailer with no words in it or whatever he wanted us to do. Because trailers don't sell comics, right? You guys don't have a trailer, do you?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Oh, you have a trailer? Why do you have a trailer? They don't sell comics. What are you doing?
Oh no!
Do you want to watch the trailer? Can we watch the trailer real quick?
Hold
Is that true? They don't sell comics.
Says she was gatekept, and I want to apologize because I don't know what happened that made her think she was gatekept. But we love you.
Yeah.
I'm scrolling up to try and find it because I'm yelled at when I try and mess with the chat and talk to people, and then I'm told that I miss things when I don't look at the chat. So I just can't
somebody in the chat
channel.
Somebody said that they would buy a Dean James cover. They said, we know there's 3 covers, but we would buy a Dean James cover. If Dean James wants to draw a cover,
he came and said, not bad, needs a Dean James cover.
We're down with it,
more
man.
Dean James.
Yeah.
You know what else needed more Dean James? That Wednesday night panel needed more Dean James.
It was my fault. Okay, Amanda B says it's my fault. I don't know what my fault is.
Amanda, retype it because I can't find it and I'm scrolling and I look stupid just kind of reading the chat. So just retype it and I'll read it again.
Yeah, I think all of us are like we're scrolling and be like, what happened?
It was all Derek's fault.
You know what? She's probably talking about when she was gate kept whenever we had everybody on the chat. And I tried to have her in.
We had StreamYard and we couldn't give enough people.
Yeah, so we have the cheap StreamYard and we could only have like 4 people in. And I wanted her in there, had invited her, and she couldn't fit in. So it was terrible.
Come on.
It was
Mo
terrible.
says Rob deserves at least a sliver of respect for such a selfless act, hiring someone to create a crowdfunding document that he himself is obviously unable to read. Saying that he hired someone to write his crowdfunding doc.
Ghostwriter.
That's I don't know. That's overstepping the bounds. Saying he hired someone to ghostwrite his comic, that might be in bounds, but the document, that's out of bounds. It's just unacceptable. Oof, right? Danny is saying this chat is whack, which means that we're having a good time up in here.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. And Danny, I'm going to say, yes.
Neff Danny, right?
Say hi to Crazy Mad, but I won't put his comment up because he was being mean to Amanda B. So that does not get
consequences. They have to learn. They have to learn consequences.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen Dean James' recent work. I have. I don't know if he's been showing it off, but I saw a little bit. He's using like physical medium now. He's transitioned away from some of the digital stuff, and he's using Coptic markers. It blew my mind. Like the dude leveled up something fierce. He's doing really detailed stuff. Like his work on the Embrace was a great start, but now it's like he's showing his artistic ability. And you're really starting to see it come through. Well, I'm wondering if maybe there was some influence from the people that he hangs out with. I don't know. Could be, but I would love to see him do a cover for something soon.
Yeah, man.
That Aerith piece he did was gorgeous.
I think, after you do a book, it's weird how much I feel like I've leveled up at the end of our book because it was ridiculous when I first started how, I don't know, just what my art looks like at the beginning of the book to what it looks like at the end. And my confidence changed too. So it's like now that you have this under your belt, So I can see why Dean leveled up, man. You get that under your belt and you have all these pages and you're like, I can do so much more. So yeah, I understand it, man. And it feels so good. So keep leveling up, man. That's the way to be.
Oh no.
So I got a question here that I'm going to come back to.
Because he's being mean to Amanda B too. And it made her say F Danny.
Yes,
that's a good thing.
Yes, Danny. But it was her first time.
She wasn't pro Danny before this, though, right?
No, but I don't think
she was never. She was always
kind of like neutral.
So composed and genteel, and Amanda B's just she never gets ruffled and flustered and like goes after people. So her saying F somebody, that's a significant step in the right direction in my opinion. But once this gets done, once this campaign is fully funded and the 60 days are up and everything is printed, how are you guys going to tackle fulfillment? Whose wife is going to pack the boxes?
Okay.
We have a company doing it for us.
So Comic you hired Blast. A wife. Okay.
Yeah. Comic Blast is doing it.
Oh, so RJ, Critical Blast is taking care of this.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, it was a good deal, man. I would definitely look into it if I was you. Plus I knew that, man, just having space.
We don't know what we're
to be able
doing
to do
with
all
it.
That. Yeah, I think
we don't know
it's
what
just
we're
better.
doing with it. We want the product to be as best as it can instead of us with our big thumbs doing something stupid to it.
Oh, that's why you have me doing fulfillment, because I have tiny hands. That works.
I mean, everything looks bigger, right?
Everything looks bigger. Oh gosh, the chat's gonna go off on that.
This took a turn.
Yeah.
The chat's gonna go crazy with that. That's
of course. I mean, we always feed the chat the fuel for the fire.
That's right. That's right.
I think it's why Mo hangs out here. He gets to have a lot of fun with clapbacks. So are you guys planning to go in demand when you fund with this, and how long are you planning to stay there?
Good question.
We have no idea how long we'll stay there. I guess it'll depend if it's taking too much time away from us. On the second book that we were working, we would probably put a pause on it being out there if it became something like that, which I don't think it will be since we're not doing the shipping now.
Right.
I it's our first time, so I think we're kind of a lot of things going by the seat of our pants. And
yeah, I mean, really,
you know what I mean?
we're kind of learning as we go. And so I don't know, we'll leave it in there. If we feel like it's not worth it, maybe we'll take it out and do a second chance or do something like on the next launch, put that in it,
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Easier to get in there. I don't know.
Well, and we kind of fell into Comicsgate. When we started this, we were just going to go to cons in our area and sell it at tables. So we still want to do that. So like hopefully in the summer we can do some of that too, being out with the crowds and do that.
I think that's the way to go. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think conventions are a great way to get out there and bring in more people into the network who are interested in checking out the cool books that we're all making here on Indiegogo. When we went out there, we got a huge surge of people interested in the books because we gave out teasers and everything. We didn't have a book to sell, but we had the campaigns that were up. And so they were all checking out the campaigns, backing it. And I think that was very successful for us. And then a whole lot of other people were kind of perusing because we featured people on our Kickstarter page when we were running a Kickstarter. We tweet out a lot of people on Indiegogo, so we're pointing people who are following us in the direction of other creators that are crowdfunding over there. And I think growing indie comics in that regard, it's just better for everyone that way, so that when we show up to these conventions, there's more people supporting each other, so definitely go to the conventions.
Yes,
it's fun too. We did that when we didn't have a product to sell. We were kind of just advertising, and that was fun. We did that before COVID.
Yeah, we did that. We printed out our little teaser comic, which is what we had up on the campaign page, and gave that out and had a QR code on it. And we're like, here, go back, Maverick.
Yeah,
it was
awesome.
Lots of fun.
Yeah. So, do you want to take a look at any of the particular tiers? I know you have a main cover, a variant cover, and a wraparound, as well as the digital and like a special discounted tier. Now, one thing I noticed is that your standard cover and your variant are both 15 and the wraparound is 20. Perfectly understandable. We kind of have the same situation, but that adds up to $50 and the featured tier is 45. Next time, mark that as a discounted tier. One of the things you can do is you can list the current, like the price and then the current price. And that puts a little banner on there that says X% off. So people feel like they're getting a deal because that's what you're doing. You are giving them a deal.
Right, like when you go and sell them at conventions eventually, like no one's going to be able to get that deal. If they bought all 3 covers, they wouldn't be able to get it for $45. So that's something.
And anyone perusing the page is looking at it and going, "Oh, wait, that's like 10% off." Yeah, okay, I'll click that because it's just subconscious. People are like, "Oh, that's a better value. I want all the things anyway, but I'm just gonna take that." So that was one little bit of feedback that I had that I just wanted to put in your guys' toolbox. I don't know if Rob Hawk, may have put that in the document. Maybe it needs to be updated by some new information.
We could have missed it. There's a lot. There's a lot. You would think that, you know what I mean? You think making a comic's a lot. Selling it is just as much.
Right.
Yep. And it's funny because, like, you hear everyone talk about, like, how much goes into creating the campaign and going out and going on shows and talking to people, and you think like, oh yeah, that's not so bad, and then you do it and it's great, but by the time you're done, you're like, oh my god, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, it wears you out.
In a good way,
it's like a high. I mean, man, launching on Bancroft and everything, that was a pretty big high for us.
That's a lot of fun.
And when we came down, like, we just crashed, and it took and then we streamed 11 hours the next day, and it beat me the hell up is what it did.
That's a lot of
It's just hilarious.
It didn't be up as much. I fell asleep during the stream.
Yeah, he got his nappy in. He got his little nappy in. But I went all hardcore and like streamed the straight 11 hours, and it beat the hell out of me. So
yeah, I don't think I could do 11 hours straight. That's whoops.
He got a bathroom
I'm just
break.
Gonna,
don't feel bad for him. Break. He got a bathroom break.
It was fun though. Now let me ask you this:
I'm not on purpose trying to back the digital tier. I'm just pressing all sorts of wrong buttons. Sorry.
Do you guys think there is too much? Wait, what's that?
I was asking Freq Girl if she was narrating her mistakes out loud. But please go ahead. You were asking
that's what I do. I narrate.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was going to ask, do you guys think there's too much text on our page? Would you consider it to have too much info? Should we streamline it? Do we need hooks? What do you think about that aspect of it?
I brought it up to him.
I'm going to look at it on my computer because it's weird when she tries to scroll through and I'm like, no, stop there. No, scroll back up. So let me just look at the page again. And you guys talk about where you got these cover ideas from, because one's an homage cover and one's a wraparound. Tell me a little bit more and then say what you would have Dean draw if you had a Dean James cover.
Oh my gosh. Think about that, Kevin, and I'll explain the homage.
Yeah.
So the homage was, I love Mike Zeck for one thing. Mike Zeck was a great 80s cover artist. I think he's one of the best of all time, really, to be honest. He has some of the best, most iconic covers I've ever seen in my life. And especially the ones from my childhood. And so when I saw the Cap versus Wolverine cover that this is an homage to, I was like, you know what? That is perfect. I would love to be able to do an homage to that. And so I worked it out where Mare is fighting that blue beast, and even their colors work really good. That beast is that blue, which represents Cap. Yeah. And then Wolverine would be where our hero is standing, Mare, and he's swinging that awesome hammer axe. And, that's in place of Wolverine's claws. And I was like, man, what a really great thing. The thing about covers for me is that when you draw a cover, you're not just making a cover, you're taking a scene out of the book and you're actually amplifying that, you're showcasing something big in the book.
That's how it should be. It's not always that way.
Well, but that's what I did. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want a cover of just whatever happening whenever, or just a hero on there, you're actually getting a scene out of the book. So you're just getting a different camera angle or something blown up, and zoomed in.
Or in the middle of two panels.
Yeah.
It would have been.
It could be a different frame of the action. And, but it's definitely something that happens. So all 3 covers that you get actually happens in the book.
I dig that because we did something very similar with Mavericks. A lot of the covers were inspired by parts of the book, parts of the story. And I put that in the notes in the back of the book, like this page inspired this cover or that cover for the most part. I think I missed some because there were a lot of notes to put in there.
I mean, they weren't like exact replicas, but like you said, they were inspired.
Right. But when we were looking at the pages, we were like, that thing that we just did would make a really cool cover, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Right, why don't we show them the page that we did and say, we want this, but as a cover?
Yeah.
And so I always think that that's a great part of the storytelling for the book when the cover matches something that goes on inside, and it's almost like a reference, just like that. So that was smart.
Yes.
I think you guys did well with that.
Thank you. And I always hated getting into a comic book thinking I was going to see this awesome villain, or this awesome battle, because the cover had it, and then you open it up, and they're there for like 2 panels or half a page, and you're like, what the hell is going on? Yeah. So disappointing.
Yeah, I get that.
And because our story is going to be a team, there's never going to be a real main character, even though Mayor's kind of the main character of this book. We knew we needed a team cover.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I did. Yeah, I agree. I did like featured vignette covers because we did way too many. We did way too many covers. Don't do 11 covers. It's a terrible idea. You guys did 3. And
they weren't all on Indiegogo, in our defense.
No, we had 5 plus the wraparound, which was available in the collectors, and then on Kickstarter we had 5 plus the wraparound. So in total, that's
the
11
wraparound
variants.
was the same.
Yeah. It's 11 variants, not including the main covers. So don't do that. That's too many.
You were gypped? Why were you gypped, Neostar?
What was Neostar gypped for?
I don't know.
And I thought it had a G in it. Hey, we got Aerith up in the house. What's up, Brian? I was looking at a campaign page, so I'm not paying attention to the chat and seeing what's going on in there. It looks like, B Rose is starting trouble as always. Oh, look, it's you. Yeah, I see you all the time in the chats, man. So it's cool to finally get to meet you.
Yeah, because, you too.
Like putting a name with a face, right? And I'm always hailing you in the chat and saying hi. So it's what is Danny saying? I have to tell you all how toxic you are. All right.
He said he does not like our stream.
Oh man.
No, he doesn't. I understand.
That's good.
It's not for everybody. It's not for everyone. In fact, it's no puppets allowed. You got to gatekeep the streams, right?
That's right.
You're never going to please everyone, and if you do, there's something wrong.
You're never going to please everyone. Why try to please puppets?
Unless they're Muppets, like Fraggles or Kermit, and then
we're going down that line again. Going to Fraggle Rock, and
you said puppets, and that's where my brain went.
It's Frequency Girl. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
it's true.
She's a child.
My brain always goes there. Sorry.
So you guys are doing well on Indiegogo right now. Have you ever considered doing anything with another crowdfunding platform like Kickstarter or Zoop or the potato one? I forget what
Kickstarter's
it's called.
Since we launched on Indiegogo, Kickstarter's emailed us a couple times.
Oh, hey, look at that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know, man. I don't feel good about Kickstarter. I mean, who was it? Was she the president or somebody? She blocked a bunch of us.
She was important. Yeah, she was important.
Yeah, somebody important with Kickstarter went through and blocked a bunch of us. I was just like, F that.
Jalila, who she's not there anymore. She resigned because of the blockchain thing, which was also stupid.
Oh,
it seems like people out there don't know what they're doing.
But it just feels like I don't care about what they're doing. I love Aerith's idea of doing his own website. He's got his own.
That's actually on here in the list of questions. Is once you're out of demand, out of in demand, do you want to have a website where you can go put the book? But you guys were like, we're going to conventions, and that's even better.
Well, and I would love to have our own website, and then Shopify sounds awesome. I want to look into that at least. I definitely want to get listed on CG now. I mean, I think those things are great. And, some of this is just so unproven that we're kind of waiting to see what happens. I don't know if this time around we're going to be like blazing any new trails as far as what we're doing yet. Who knows what we'll do in the future, though? I mean, we might come up with some really great ideas there. But
EVS just talked about having a Comicsgate type of thing that's just like Indiegogo. So
I
heard.
Yeah,
it's
that's pretty
very
amazing.
Exciting to be talking about that.
It is.
As things develop. I mean, a couple of us had similar ideas. I don't know how long his has been in development, but I know that when Kickstarter announced the blockchain protocol that they were developing for the CeeLo blockchain, so that they could integrate there, I was like, well, that's the perfect opportunity for us to start developing our own place that's backed by the blockchain transparency and security. And as a plugin, it's open source, but they haven't, made enough progress on it yet to give us anything tangible. Like there are no white papers on it. If there were, then we could probably start building something. But so I imagine that EVS has been working on his thing for quite some time. So it's interesting. It's an interesting conversation to have, especially when people are like, oh, well, we shouldn't leave Indiegogo. And then we hear that we're planning on leaving Indiegogo. So it is what it is, right? I mean, I'm sure the conversations will be featured more in the future, and I really look forward to hearing them. Because it's new ideas. What about Zoop though, guys? Come on, don't you want to try out Zoop?
I don't know
what it is.
Right,
I just keep thinking of.
So you got to tell us about it. Tell us what it is.
All right, so it's a crowdfunding website that came out. And there's another one. There's a potato one, potato tomato. I don't know, but anyway, Zoop is a curated platform where you go on and you submit a description of your crowdfunding project and a really extensive form, because they have to make sure that your project is not insensitive or poses any sort of harm to anyone that could be frequenting the website looking to support things that are being funded. And if they select you as being well within the parameters for acceptable conduct and content, they curate the page for you, which means you don't get to write your copy. You don't get to write to make your picture. You don't get to do any of that. They host you on their website, and then they promote you on the website outside of their algorithm. You guys don't want to try Zoop?
No.
Come on.
Look, man, there's one thing that I guess I've always been kind of my own thing. I always do my own thing. I like doing my own thing. I like doing what works, and I like being outside of the mainstream. I think that's why this works so well. And so that's why I like watching Aerith and seeing what he does, because he does his own shit. Yes, puts the cancer in cancer.
Zoop puts the cancer in cancer.
That's awesome. And I agree wholeheartedly.
Honestly, I think there'd be people that like really hate animals being treated wrong. I mean, we kill a beast. I mean, I could see people being upset because of that. There are people that, you know what I mean? So I don't know how I don't know how you could make something that's not going to ruffle someone's feather. Like it's just, it's impossible.
Like you said, you can't please everybody, so just do your own thing. I want to say hey to Edwin. Thanks for dropping in. The Ace is in the chat. Don't forget to sign up for that, because the new one looks really great. I've been seeing what he's been dropping in some of the DM groups for the designs of the Ace, and I did vote for Atuna as the best villain of the year, so I'm really looking forward to the next issue. He's a giant shark man with robot legs. How could I not? He's a great personality.
That's pretty cool.
You made the right choice.
I know, right? Aaron says Dirk and Murph on Comics Way tomorrow night too. Woo! Yes, I'm going to be up in that chat. That's going to be a lot of fun. All this this gatekeeping.
Wow.
F those.
Sorry, that's what I was trying to turn on.
No, okay.
He's trying not to say that. Yeah.
No,
that's awesome. I love it.
It'd be even better if Neff hadn't failed the reading.
I don't know. I think it was better that I did fail the reading. So, what is the biggest challenge you faced crowdfunding so far, and how did you guys overcome it?
Well,
that's a good one too.
MailChimp was a hell of a thing, so we gave that up. I fucking hate MailChimp. I'm sorry about the language,
That's
but I hate it.
That's it. That's the thing. That's the thing. We didn't understand it. Asking people help. No one could help us with it. Oh God. Well, we both tried at it too, and it was like just
felt like on top of that, weight, shipping weight and all that shit, man. I hate that too. I gotta say that is probably the worst thing to worry about. And you have to have it to get your paid
Get a wife. Get a wife that'll take care of both of those things. You don't have to worry about stuff.
She makes a box because we didn't have the physical of anything. We didn't even have all of our proof because we ordered physical proofs of everything, like merch wise and stuff. We didn't have all of it, so like I had to go and like, well, this is about the same size and weight, and then I like made up a fake box of everything. Then I weighed it, and I'm like, oh, I hope this is right. But I know what you mean.
And that's it. I tried to find a book that would be similar size. We had prints that we weighed. We had a metal card we were trying to weigh. Just different things that we were looking at. And I was like, is this all going to work? And I hope I'm just sending him, the right numbers. Luckily, I had 2 people give me the same feedback. And I was like, I think that's it. So it worked out.
Okay.
But it feels hit and miss, man.
Yeah.
Making the prices and, trying to do it where it doesn't come off like we're cheap, like it's not worth something buying, but then also hitting people too much because of shipping and what it's going to be like 6 months from now. Shipping could be even worse. It's like total crapshoot.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you want to tell our viewers before we sort of wrap up here?
Well, can we play the trailer?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You mean the thing that's not going to sell the con?
Who said that?
It's a thing. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I will
I just like saying we have a trailer. I think that's awesome.
I think
it doesn't sell. I think it's very cool.
Oh, Mo, thank you.
Thank you, Mom. All right, play the trailer.
All right, I'm playing. Here we go.
Before the ancient flood, continents are connected, mankind is divided, and the Celestials are perched in wait. Because of this, an evil force arises to conquer the earth. Mare and his small group of warriors encounter this evil and are thrust into a crisis that will disrupt the fate of humanity.
That's cool.
Where did you guys get Jim Morrison?
That's my band.
It's great, man. I would buy an album.
Thank you.
Throw the soundtrack in as a stretch goal, and you'll blow the roof off the sucker.
Okay. Yeah, we might do that.
Hey, Rick Taylor, what's up, my dude? Thank you for stopping by and catching the last little bit of the show here.
Yeah, Neff and I were both like jamming out in the background. Which I don't think you guys can see us. We can see you guys.
Yeah, I was going.
I was gonna say, I think we're pretty much all rocking out.
It really is legitimately really good music.
Thank you.
Then again, I like classic rock, and I like that kind of vibe.
If you like it, go to Ugly Tongue at Bandcamp. You can look us up on Bandcamp. It's Ugly Tongue Music. It might be that, but you should be able to find us. You can also find us on Twitter at Ugly Tongue. It'll have the frog with the tongue wrapping around it, squeezing the shit out of the frog. So you'll know it by the visual. And yeah, I mean, that's our, I mean, man, that song's been out a little while now for us, but we also use our band's music for our show, for our YouTube channel, for the intro. So if you heard that before, that's what it is too.
I'm trying to. So I think Neff and I are both like, ooh, we're gonna look and see if we
look it up, man. Yeah, do it.
You got it. You're dropping it now.
You got it.
Cool.
Okay.
Yep. It took me a second because there's a band called Tongue and they had a song called Ugly.
Yeah.
Was not being cooperative. So I had to check your.
You need to go after them, Derek.
Over here.
I know.
You need to go after that group and sue.
Their music sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
You're right. Strike that band with the name Tongue. It's copyright infringement, I tell you. All right.
That'd be great.
So, guys, thank you so much for coming tonight. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you for having us.
Great
talking
about
this
book and 80s stuff. And, and you guys have a really exciting story, it looks like. A very passionate support for the world that you're building, and you guys are just getting started. So we're really happy to support that, and
thank you, man.
And we look forward to seeing all the other stuff that you've got to bring to the table. So thank you everyone else for tuning in, hanging out, watching the stream. Don't forget to check out these guys' book on Indiegogo and check out their link on the Bandcamp to pick up some of their sweet music. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Click the bell for notifications.
And tune into the frequency.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
See you guys.